Hello and welcome to the Inbetween podcast. I'm your host Joe Sqaire and I'm joined here by Tony Tones at RT. How are you, Tony?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I mean, I should probably say that I delayed the podcast by a day. That's my fault.
True, but I delayed it even further.
Oh yeah, you're pissing about. That's true. But I did a 24-hour delay, so I think yours is smaller than mine.
Well, I woke up this morning and then I was on Twitter and I saw Sips posting, "I'm in that Minecraft kind of mind." And then I was like, I went on Sips' stream and I was like, oh, he's playing Skyblock. So I'm like, oh, he's literally just loaded it up and he hasn't done anything. So I'm like literally at the start of the YouTube video at this point. You know, like when Sips used to make YouTube videos.
Oh yeah.
But it's I've caught the stream at the right time, so I can watch it from the beginning.
So did you install? I guess I'm jumping ahead here, but did you install the mod pack and start playing it then, or did you?
Yeah. It's Skyblock's 3, Sky Factory 3.
I think I already had it installed or something.
No, it's just on the Twitch launcher. So I was like, okay. Yeah. Because I saw Sky Factory 4, and I was like, I wonder what the difference is. And then I looked at it, and I googled it, and some people were like, oh, there's some stuff they changed, but it's a newer version of Minecraft, but there is some cool stuff in the third one. And I was like, I'll just play 3, and then if I like 3, I could try 4, I guess. But that's the one Sips was playing, because I was like, oh, that's a really cool idea. Because I never played a sky mod. I've never played one of those mods where you start out with a tree in the sky. Never.
Oh, okay. Okay, fair enough.
So yeah.
If you've never done it before, it's an interesting experience.
But I was like,
I remember watching Captain Sparkles do it back in the day.
If I'm going to experience having to survive without falling off, I should be doing hardcore. Because Sips is also doing hardcore as well, and I was like, that sounds fun, where if I fall off, I just permanently die, and I have to start again. So that makes, like, falling off the sky really, really scary, and I was like, oh, that's, like, adds a cool element to the...
Yeah, pro tip, have a bucket of water, like, falling off the edge at some point if you can get to it.
I don't know. I don't think there's a bottom sort of thing. From what I can see from my perspective, I don't see a bottom of the world.
No. Okay, so what happens? I think you're 64 blocks up, so it means if you fall off, you have time to like fall towards the water.
Right.
It's like a pro tip.
That's a Turns at RT Minecraft tricks pro tip.
I saved myself a couple of times with that tip, so.
There it is.
If you lower it down, I don't know where the mod pack puts you, but if you lower it down, it won't work as well. But yeah, the water will like reach the bottom of the world, which is the void, and just like stop. So.
Well, the thing I find interesting about this mod pack is it has a book, and then it gives you suggestions on how to progress through the mod, and you can tick them as you do them, sort of thing. So as someone who's like more intrinsically motivated, I found that really helpful to help me like play through the
like checking off things you can do.
I just realised your image is no longer on the screen. I think I moved it somewhere and it's now gone. Oh, I can't find the path of the skeleton picture of Tony.
You've lost it.
Yeah, maybe I even I was like cleaning up a bunch of my photos the other day. Because I couldn't find anything and I was like, okay, finally I'm going to start moving around stuff.
You moved the wrong things. Well,
I'll change it live on stream. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm sure that's fine.
Here he is, Tony.
Do I have it still? I can't remember where I saved it either, actually.
Right, there we go.
It's probably in the vault.
There you are, Tony. You got an award recently, so that's good.
Right. Okay. Good.
Perfect. Right. But yeah, I was stalling playing Minecraft. Basically because I started playing along with Sips because I was like, oh, this is really interesting. And that's why I was late today. The end. What a great story. Shall we talk about some Oh, last week I was saying, okay, I'm going to tangerine again. Last week I was saying, like, oh, I wanted an Apple Watch so you can get a speedometer on my
Yeah,
bike. I found out
yeah.
about cycling computers.
Okay.
You can
So
just get, like, a little device that will tell you how fast you're going, sort of thing.
a little HUD or a little yeah, a little speedo, I guess.
A little speedometer. They're
Yeah,
called bike computers or cycling computers.
that's yeah. How expensive are they
The
though?
ones I just looked up on Amazon. The ones I looked up on Amazon, they were like um £12 sort of thing. So
Oh,
some of
okay.
them, because it was kind of, I was like, how does this work? They put like magnets on your spoke, and then it measures your wheels going round, and then it figures
Yeah,
out the distance you're going, and then it uses that to figure out how fast you're going right now based on the
I
time.
it does lead me to a question though.
Yeah,
How the hell does the Apple Watch know what speed you're going?
I don't know. I
Because you
didn't.
can't measure it as a force because like it's not a force. Like at constant
Hmm.
velocity, you're not. There's no force being applied. So
The advanced electronics have what they call gyrometers. What are they called?
yeah, but that would measure like acceleration, right?
Hmm. But I don't know if it'd be able to figure out how fast the device was, because some of them go off when you're in like a car. Like they know when you're moving fast.
Yeah, but I assume that's going to like make you accelerating or deaccelerating. So I assume like if you like maybe you can like calibrate it, like yeah, I'm at rest now, so calculate this as 0. And then like think goes, oh, you've accelerated to this, you must be at this speed. Maybe that's how it does it.
Hmm. I was riding on my new bike yesterday because I'm getting a new bike for Christmas, and my parents wanted me to ride it before Christmas so that I could figure
You
out if
make sure the wheels don't fall off.
well, the thing is, when you buy a new bike, you get like they gave me like 2 weeks insurance sort of thing. And I was like, well, if I'm going to crash it, I might as well crash it, yesterday. Because then, if I,
Okay.
yeah, just give it a quick crash. But I was making sure everything's okay. The only thing I found was they included a bell, which I think, based on the James May video I watched, they have to legally include a bell, I think.
Yeah.
Because you have to be able to tell people that you're there so they can get out of the way if your
It.
brakes fail or
Yeah.
something. But the bell was, I couldn't see my second set of gears. I was like, this is right in front. So that was the only thing. I was just like, I'll just move the bell. Um, but I've been riding. I started riding an electric bike, which weighs like 25 kilograms, and then I stopped
That's
using the electric. So I'm just riding this huge, heavy bike uphill every day, and then I moved on to the light bike, and it was like, this is what riding uphill has supposed to been like this entire time. I cannot believe this.
okay. Did how much it weighs?
I think it's like 14 kilograms or something like that.
Oh, okay. That's
So
quite a
it's
big
like over
decrease.
10
Yeah.
kilograms lighter than my bike.
Yeah. That's insane.
Hmm. So it's so
It's
light,
like
sort of thing.
1/7 of my weight just gone. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
so it's over. Anyway, I will stop stalling. Let's get on. Halo 4 came out, Tony, because as I wrote
Yeah,
this,
I
I
know.
was like, Halo 4's not out, and then now it is. So Halo 4 exists. Along with the Halo 4 update, we got the fix for Reach and I was going to say Half-Life 2. Halo 2 frame rate issues. I don't know if I told you about
Right.
this before, where in Halo 2, some of the outside sections in the anniversary
I
graphics were just like crashing
believe
and
we talked
stuttering
about that
like crazy.
in the
Um,
Tangerine, right?
I haven't tested out if it's the fix work, but I assume it's done something at least. There is
Okay.
now input-based matchmaking, Tony. So when you go in, there is now cross-play with the Xbox, and when you go into the game, it asks you if you are a controller player and a mouse and keyboard player, and then
Right.
match you up with other mouse and keyboard players in multiplayer, or other controller players if you use a controller, which I like. I like input-based matchmaking because I think it makes the level field a bit more fair, sort of thing.
Yeah, it's like an easier way to do like what's it like skill-based matchmaking as well, right? Like you like move people up and down. What's that called? MMR? I don't know.
Oh yeah, like an elo system
Yeah.
where you have like a matchmaking ranking.
I guess like it gets like step 0 for that sort of thing, like the same sort of idea.
They've also done a server region selection, so you can make sure that you're playing in the right region in the world. Because sometimes I would go and like join a random game and it'd be like an American server and I get horrible latency. So thankfully I can select the European server. And then there's also more Season 4 content.
Could you not just like select like what your limit is for like the ping or something? Like have like an average ping per server, and then you're like, oh, I don't want to go to that one.
Tick rate.
Is that
I think you're describing tick rate.
Yeah.
High tick rate servers where people with too high latency get kicked, sort of thing.
Yeah. But like, could you not? I don't know. Surely, like, just having like, oh, I'm okay with high. I don't know why you'd be okay with.
It depends on the game, because when you get like a
more
serious game, especially when you have custom browsers, like games like Battlefield or Counter-Strike, where you can make your own browser, they will do that sort of stuff. But usually, big companies don't do that sort of thing because it alienates a lot of customers, so they don't want to. They want to try and include everyone without like kicking out the people with bad connections. But the higher the tick rate the server, the people with the better connections are more favoured than the people with the worst connections. So that's why you should always want high tick rate servers. But I assume they're much harder to do, which is why a lot of companies don't do it, sort of thing.
Yeah, I think if you're not gonna, if your idea is to include everyone, I still think you should like display the information so the customer knows.
Anyway,
like I feel like giving them information is good.
I've played half of Halo 4. There will probably be a tangerine on this, but I gotta say, as a first initial impression, I'm not liking Halo 4 that much. It starts off and I'm like, this is a Halo game, and then I'm on like a weird planet with blue aliens. I'm like, am I playing Destiny right now? What is happening?
Yes.
So I don't know. Anyway. We got a brand new killer released. Well, killer reveal, I should say. The Twins. And I think this killer looks really cool. It's the Binding of Kin. Sorry?
Where are these? What franchise is this from?
They do original characters as well as...
As well? Okay.
Yeah, so this is just the DVD characters.
Fair enough. That's pretty impressive then.
So the really interesting thing is that they're called the Twins because it's kind of like a woman with an axe, but she has like a baby growing on her who like she can throw at people and they run off and rip up people. As you can see here, the little baby's ripping the fuck out of David. He's usually getting murdered in a lot of these promotional things.
Okay, interesting. That's kind of terrifying, though.
Yeah, it is. And then the baby kind of goes back into the woman.
No, that's a no. That's a no from me.
No from you. You love creepy stuff, Tony. I thought this would be right up your alley.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I like it.
Killer power, yeet the child. So yeah, Victor and Charlotte Deshays. These are the new killers. So if you just read the perks quickly. So have killer powers. Well, I'll read the perks and then I'll go into the power. So we've got Hoarder. You protect what little you have and perceive those rummaging through your stockpiles. Receive a loud noise notification for 4 seconds when survivors interact with the chest or when they pick up an item within 24 to 48 meters of your location. The trial begins with 2 additional chests in the environment, but the rarity found in chests is decreased. So this is a double-edged sword sort of thing where you're giving the survivors more chests, but the rarity inside the chest is worse, and then every time they interact with the chests, you then get a notification sort of thing. So I like perks like this. I think it makes the game way more interesting sort of thing. When you're I shouldn't... When there's... Because in the moment, like, opening a chest is like a no-brainer, because like, oh, if I open this, I can find something good and use it. But perks like this make me go, oh, maybe I shouldn't open this chest because then I'm playing around Hoarder in case they're running that perk sort of thing. So it always adds more interesting gameplay to the game. Then we have Oppression. Life has been difficult to you, so you'll make it difficult for others. When you damage a generator, up to 3 other random generators also begin regressing. If the effect generators are being repaired, any survivor repairing them will receive a difficult skill check. Oppression has a cooldown from 120 to 80 at Epic. That's pretty cool. So that's kind of a alternative to Hex Ruin. Hex Ruin is a very, very popular perk because of when you, especially if you get to the higher levels, being able to slow down the survivors from just rushing the generators before you have a chance to kill any of them is very important. So almost every killer at one point was running Hex Ruin. I think this might be good enough to compete with that perk as well, especially since Hex Ruin has been nerfed over time. So I like this. I think it's cool. Probably be a good one.
More competitive choices, I guess.
Yep. Coup de Grace. As the end nears, you go in for the kill. Each time a generator is completed, Coup de Grace grows in power. Gain 1 token per generator. Consume 1 token to increase the distance of your next lunge attack by 60 to 100%. That's pretty interesting. So I assume you consume the token by going into a lunge attack. So I kind of explained this to you, Tony, because you don't really, you've never played DBD, but one thing you can do as the killer is you can press left click and that'll do an attack, but you can also hold down left click and that'll charge up a lunge, so you'll go forward, sort of thing. So
that makes sense.
This will make your lunge a lot longer. Obviously, killers that have trouble closing gaps on people are really going to love this perk because it's really going to help them catch up to the survivors. Whereas as the nurse, you can just like blink around, but then somebody, let's say like I don't know, maybe like the hillbilly is quite not a hillbilly, Leatherface. I think he's called the hillbilly actually. Is he? No, the cannibal. That's what they call him. They have franchise characters, but they also give them a generic name as well. So Leatherface is quite a slow killer, and he has been reworked. Yeah, the cannibal. They also, I got to show you this. They recently made a skin for the cannibal as well, because usually they have to just have the base skin for the franchise character, because they can't get the rights to make additional skins.
Okay.
So we got a new Bubba skin. See, do they have the pictures of new skins on the wiki? Cannibal DBD, new skin. I don't know if you know this, but I think it's called Old Lady Leatherface, and I believe... Is it... Dave's here, so he'll know. Is this like his grandmother or his mother or something skin or something that he's wearing? Dave's watched the Texas Chainsaw Massacre film, so he'll know like the reference. What is it, Dave? When he's dressing as a woman.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. Well, his name's Leatherface because he wears people's skin, sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's terrifying.
I thought it was in the films. I thought that was what the reference was for. Alright, Dave's going to give me a lesson on horror because I've never seen any of the films, so...
I don't know, I'm seeing on Google Images like some images of this, so... Is it not in a film or something?
Hmm. There is a woman mask he wears. Ah, okay. Maybe it's a reference to that. There is an image I've seen from the... Because there's... If you go on the Leatherface timeline wiki, there's one called Old Woman. And it's this exact image sort of thing, Dave. It's this image sort of thing. I have to look into this more. I assume this was Bubba's grandma or his mother or something that the face was supposed to be, but I don't know. I'll look into it later. I just thought it's cool that I think there is something like this in our film somewhere.
Wait,
but...
Wait, leather face mask on Etsy? Right.
All right.
This is what we're using Corona times.
Yeah, get the Halloween. Anyway, I thought that was cool that they added that. So there's the weapon, the blade of Marseille, I don't know, it sounds kind of French. Tails warned of a demon who sculled the gutters of Marcellus. Is it Marcellus? Does he look like a bitch? Was a shimmering blade in hand. Because she has the coup de grace. Is she French? Because she has coup de grace as well. Which I've seen that written before, so I know to read it correctly. Let me read the law. And if it starts with French twins. France. French. Yep, they're French. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Why they have these French-named perks and powers. Okay. With a shimmering blade in hand, in reality it was a battered sickle Charlotte stole from a foeman's helmet and modified to her liking. Special ability, Blood Bond. Press and hold the power button to unleash Victor. So basically, you switch control between the woman, Charlotte, and Victor, the little jockey from Left 4 Dead, pretty much, is what I'm going to refer to him as. And this causes her to fall into the dominant state. So you switch basically POV with the little kid thing. And while Victor is unable to see scratch marks, he sees pools of blood in bright red. So this again is going to tie into when you get hit, you start to bleed everywhere. So it's going to be really important to heal. And there are some perks that stop you from bleeding, sort of thing. So that'll be pretty useful. While left on his own, Victor will trigger Killer Instinct on any walking or running survivor who can hear his shrieks, revealing their outlines to Charlotte. However, Victor can be crushed by the survivors while Charlotte is being controlled. Now, this led to a fucking hilarious meme, Tony, because you remember that? You remember the trailer where David is just getting ripped up by Victor?
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, you can now do this as a survivor.
It's actually in the game.
I don't know if it's quite like this, but this is the shit post. Finally, David gets his revenge. Just kicks the shit out of him.
That's quite. I quite like the BT kick sound actually. That's
basically, you kind of play. I guess it kind of like you're kind of like placing pieces around a board.
What
sort of thing?
Sorry, I just scrolled down. I just saw Puss in Boots coming out of Shrek's tunic. What the? This isn't
Puss
the
in
twin
Boots
skin.
Coming out of Shrek's official merchandise. I can't wait till they add Shrek as the new killer in Dead by Daylight. But basically, you can crush the baby while Charlotte's being controlled. So if she yeets the baby out, if she yeets the jockey out, and then you go back to controlling Charlotte, the survivors can go and kick the shit out of the baby, and then it will regrow on Charlotte after 6 seconds.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's okay.
Pretty interesting. There's some other killers that I think similarly. I guess it's kind of like a trap you can teleport to because you can switch controls. So the killer I'd say it would be most like would probably be the hag can lay traps, which if you trigger them, she can teleport to them. The Demogorgon from Stranger Things lays like a nest down that you can teleport to, and as a survivor you can go and destroy the nest so you can't teleport to it, sort of thing.
Yeah, okay.
But we have Special Attack Pounce, so this is Victor the jockey, basically. You hold the ability button and he will pounce on the survivor. So landing a pounce deals damage to the survivor. If the survivor is at full health, it will latch on to them, afflicting them with broken, which basically, if you're broken, you can't heal. Oblivious, which hurts your vision, and then incapacitated. Actually, what does incapacitated do? Let me look this up. I don't remember all of the status effects. It's used exclusively by the twins. Okay, so this is why I've never heard of it. You can't enter lockers. You can't you can't leave through exit gates. You can't repair generators. You can't sabotage hooks. You can't use items. Basically, you can't do anything.
Well, how does it get applied?
when the jockey kid jumps on you, when he pounces on you. But you can open an exit gate, you can leave through the hatch, and you can drop pallets while you're incapacitated.
So you have to deal with that before you can do anything then. Okay.
So basically, he's basically like pouncing on top of you and just like ripping up your face like he did in the trailer. So when Victor jumps on top of you, the affected survivor can crush Victor while they're latched onto them by completing a remove action. So this will take 8 seconds. If Victor misses his pounce, he's momentarily vulnerable and can be crushed by the survivor. I literally haven't seen it done in game, but I kind of don't want to, and I just kind of want to go in game with this survivor, and I'm just like, I hope you just kick this little shit that's trying to pounce on you. That would be so sad. Because as a survivor, you're always getting fucked. You're always getting killed. And you're running around trying to survive so you can go into another lobby to get chased and killed by a killer. And it's like, finally, we can go and kick this little shit.
Just need to bring a gun next time.
Yeah. I reckon if someone was going to bring a gun, it would have been Bill, but he could only bring one thing to the realm, and he chose cigarettes because he's always smoking in the lobby.
Oh shit!
So yeah, he couldn't give up his cigarettes. That was his trade-off. That's fair, yeah. If he misses his pounce, he can be crushed. If he lands his pounce and stays on an obstacle taller than himself, he will be destroyed and regrow on Charlotte. So this is the killer. Looks pretty interesting. Going to be very interesting to try and play this killer when she comes out and play against her, of course, as I usually play Survivor. I'm not a big killer player, but I do play occasionally. And then we have Elodie Rakoto. She is French Madagascan, so I've probably pronounced that horribly wrong. But let's just go quickly into her unique perks.
French Madagascar, okay.
That's the nationality. Appraisal, okay. You have a careful eye that notices when may have luck. Start the trial with 3 tokens. When a chest has already been opened, consume 1 token to search again for an item. Unlocks in search chests are 80% faster. So here we have, usually when you have a chapter, you have a killer that has a certain perk, and then usually the survivor has a complementary or a perk that goes against what the killer wants to do, because then they fit together a bit more interesting. Because we saw like the twins want to create more chests, but then also Elodie benefits from having more chests, sort of thing, because she can search them so much faster. Okay. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Deception. Your adventure lifestyle receives momentary crafty misdirection. Interact with the locker while holding the sprint button to trigger a loud noise notification for the killer at your location instead of entering the locker. You will not leave any scratch marks for 3 seconds. This can trigger every 6 to 4 seconds. Why do they keep trying to make better pebble throws? Why can't just buff pebble throw? That's what I'm saying. I love pebble throw. Let me throw pebbles when I'm not in the killer's terror radius. That would be perfect, because that's essentially what we're doing here. We're allowing you to make a massive loud notification somewhere on the map to distract the killer, and then you don't have scratch marks, so you can just run away. Buff pebble throw. Behavior interactive. Let's go. Power struggle. You've never given up and you're not about to start now while being carried by the killer, reaching 35 to 25% based on the rank. Wiggle progression activates power struggle. When power struggle is active, you can drop a nearby pallet to stun the killer and be released. Power struggle is deactivated when it triggers successfully. So it's kind of it's similar to Decisive Strike. Decisive Strike lets you, when you're picked up by the killer, and I think there's some certain things you have to meet first, but I think maybe you have to be hooked first and then you can use Decisive Strike. But it's a Laurie Strode perk from Halloween, and it basically, you get like a hard skill check, and if you hit it, you stab the killer and then you can escape, sort of thing, and then you can't use it for the rest of the game. It's like a one-time use sort of thing. So this is similar to that, where if the killer is dragging you underneath a pallet, you can drop the pallet on them and get out yourself. It's kind of another perk that allows you to be able to escape from the killer without having to rely on your teammates to help you, sort of thing, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, okay.
I'm always down for another wiggle perk. As someone, I love wiggling. Every time a wiggle perk comes out, I'm like, I have to unlock this perk for every killer. for every survivor, right? And then I have to put all the wiggle perks together for the ultimate wiggle build, where I'm just wiggling the whole time.
What if you? Would it make sense to combine wiggling with rock throwing?
I mean, Pebble Gang for life. So yeah, I'm definitely always throwing pebbles. The thing is, if you have a wiggle build, you want to get caught because then you're more stronger. Like at the moment, I was playing like a bill build where I was I could get myself. I could so I had the detective tap perk where I could crawl across the floor and recover myself. I recovered faster. I could also get myself up from the recovery state, and it actually ended up being very important in a match where the killer put me. He hit me and I was down on the floor, and then he was chasing somebody else, and I crawled away while recovering, and then I got myself up, sort of thing. So that's like a really slippery perk where if the killer, if I can get away from the killer, like on the floor, I can actually like get myself up, sort of thing. I like doing interesting perks like that where people wouldn't necessarily, you know, they're not like the strongest perks, but you can create your own unique builds, and that's what I love about Dead by Daylight. In its heart, it's a PvP game.
Yeah.
And when I can create really some crazy build and use it to beat somebody else, another human being with it, that feels amazing. So that's why really cool. I love this game. Anyway,
does the killer have that sort of ability as well? They can make their own.
Yeah. It's really huge customization in the game.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Okay, Dave said, we got an update on the old lady Leatherface. I just rewatched the ending. He does wear that outfit between his normal mask and the pretty woman mask for a scene that lasts about 2 minutes. Dave, I knew it was in the film. Come on. As someone, I am an expert of Leatherface knowledge. I don't think they would put it in the film unless he wore it. So I don't think they would put it in the game unless like it was like a thing super fans like really liked about the outfit, sort of thing. So yeah. Anyway, we're getting a new Trine 4 DLC. I've heard good things about Trine 4. We are getting a Melody of Mystery DLC. Well, me and you've played Trine 1, Trine 2 maybe, sort of thing together.
Yeah, we tried both, didn't we? Or I don't know. I played both.
I like the first 2 Trine games. I haven't played 3, but I heard they went from 2.5D to more 3D. I think in the
I think there were other issues as well with the.
Well, I know that the big thing was that the change of perspective sort of thing was a big thing about Trine 3. But I've heard good things about 4, and it seems like they're going back to their roots sort of thing with Trine 4. So I'd be down to play this in the DLC. It looks great. So yeah, definitely check that out if you're interested in Trine 4. It does look very interesting. Coming out later in November, it says, so maybe it'll be out soon. This is the big news for me. I said to Tony, you have to pick one news topic. If you could only talk about one thing, what would you pick? And his topic will be coming out later. But I said, I have to talk about Project 007. IO Interactive, the Hitman game creators, are making a James Bond game. This is fucking huge news. I love this. Because remember, they just got away from... they bought the rights off, I think, was it Sqaire that had the publishing rights to...
I think so.
The Hitman series. They now own the Hitman series. They're self-publishing, self-developing, and they're also self-developing, self-publishing a brand new James Bond game. And something really cool about this is it's an original James Bond story, and it's going to be about a James Bond origin story. So that's really interesting to see. Because when I was talking about this with you, I said, I wonder if it's going to be to do with... We've seen some like Daniel Craig Bond games. We've seen like Pierce Brosnan, like famously GoldenEye. A lot of these games are usually based on the film sort of thing.
Yeah.
But to me, I love James Bond. And I love the Hitman games I've played. So having them create a James Bond... It's like the perfect recipe, in my opinion. You would want IO Interactive creating a James Bond game. I think this is a good recipe for success.
The way they craft stories as well, at least in the Hitman games, I think is very compelling as well. Like, I think it would work very well with a James Bond sort of story. Like you don't need to do much. Like if it's mostly like player driven, that you don't you have to do is add like the villains and like their intent, and then the rest is player driven. So,
but yeah,
yeah.
We just got a teaser trailer, and then on the website they talked about it being a James Bond original origin story. So I'm really interested to see what they do with that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm not a James Bond fan, I guess. I'm not really like into James Bond, but like I really like Iron Interactive. I like Hitman, so
yeah, I'm a big fan of the old James Bond films, because if you watch the old James Bond films now, they're pretty much comedy films at this point. But I really love the old the gadgets, the everything's over the top, the crazy villains, and then see like when it comes to James Bond now, I really don't like James Bond pretty much past Casino Royale sort of thing. Like I
don't like gritty reality.
No, I think it was pretty. See, because the good example of a Bond film that came out that isn't a Bond film was the Kingsman films. It was like, oh, it's kind of goofy, there's gadgets, and it's pretty funny sort of thing. I was like, this is the sort of thing I want in a James Bond film, and that was in the new Kingsman film. The first one was good. A lot of people like the first one. I watched the second one, and I didn't think it was as good, and I don't think people thought the second one was as good. But definitely, if you haven't seen the first Kingsman film, check that out, because that is a really good film. We have a brand new GTA 5 heist coming out. The KO Perico heist. This is coming December 15th. And one of the cool things about this heist is, so far, every single heist, you have to play with other people, sort of thing. You need to find other people to do the heist with. This is the first heist you're going to be able to play solo. So you don't even have to have a group of people to do the heist. That was one of the hard things to set up, sort of thing.
God, what is this player? I can't. There's no sound. What is the trend with like no sound volume? Fuck off. I was gonna say I'm surprised there's new GTA 5 stuff. And I realized no, I'm not.
The really cool thing about this heist is it takes the heist isn't on the normal GTA map. They've made an entire new island just for the heist. It's the KO Perico Island sort of thing. Yeah. So you have to breach KO Perico, one of the most secure private islands in the entire world. Evade or neutralize the heavily armed security forces stationed there. Escape with valuable evidence with as much as you can. Much art, gold, and drug money. Choose your approach. So again, it seems like from the Diamond Casino heist, you can go stealthy. You can go what's it called? Ocean's 11, where you kind of try and blend in with disguise and stuff, or you can go for the guns blazing approach if you just want to shoot out. And yeah, as I said, it's the first one you can play entirely alone, which is really cool, because it's kind of a pain in the ass to set up a heist. So having the option to just be able to run it by yourself is pretty cool.
Yeah, it'd be like more chill, I think, because of that. Or
you can acquire new vehicles, tactical weapons, experience new social spaces to dance and party in with your friends. Oh, there's going to be that reminds me of the nightclub level in Payday 2, where I always want to dance on the night floor. And apparently there's also going to be new radio stations with over 100 new songs. So if you want to stream this on Twitch, fuck you. This is all going to be licensed music, probably. Don't touch GTA 5 if you're a Twitch streamer right now, because the DMCA shit is wild. Have you heard about the Twitch DMCA stuff recently, Tony?
I've heard a little bit, yeah. I've heard. Yeah, I've heard people complaining about it. That's about it, though.
Basically, like, all of the big music record labels have come together, and they've basically started using bots to. They basically have a content ID system similar to YouTube's content ID system, and they're just scanning every single Twitch clip, every single Twitch VOD, and then they're sending cease and desist letters to Twitch, and then Twitch's only option is to give the streamer a strike and then ban them, sort of thing. And then there's like a 3-strike system on Twitch. So if you receive 3 DMCA strikes on Twitch, you can be perma-banned from the platform forever, which is fucking scary. Yeah, it's really fucking dumb.
So there's automated permaban stuff, basically. Yeah, that's so dumb. Like, not even like a review system. That's so stupid.
It's pretty fucking ridiculous. Because the thing is, people are getting flagged for in-game music as well, even. People are getting flagged for music that's inside the game they're playing. So they're saying like, oh yeah, just don't listen to music, forehead. Just mute your game so no one can hear the sounds. Just in case the wind sound in the game is copyrighted by someone.
You remember? Okay, this is kind of tangent, but this is somewhat related because it is like copyright.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I've talked about this on the podcast, but I've talked to you before. No, you remember Wintergotten, like the marble machine person?
Oh, the marble machine. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, Marble Martin, as I like to call him. No one else calls him.
Yeah.
That's the guy who runs the channel, by the way. But you know, like I was saying, like, oh, wouldn't it be great if we had like infinite licenses? Like, once you have the license, it's like once you have it, it lasts forever. Not necessarily that the license will stay on the site or be available forever. He did that. He makes his own music, and it's like, okay, I've now made an infinite license. You can play in the background of your video as long as you're compliant with like the with the license itself. Like, yeah, that's great. It can never be DMCA'd. That's crazy. That's what I wanted.
It's pretty cool because you remember when you used to get like video editing software, and you just buy the license and you got a copy of that video editing software forever. But now it's like, if you want to get Premiere, you have to sign up to the Adobe Cloud subscription. That's even annoying.
Remember the old YouTube stuff, or even like some of the stuff that people used to use on YouTube. Like people, like I think last year and the start of this year, like started to get DMCA because the licenses ran out. It's like, what the fuck? We paid for it back then. It should still be valid now. You should be able to get it anymore if you're a new person. But that's stupid. I think Tom Scott says the copyright system is broken, not YouTube.
It was the Twitch streamer Crip, who's like a Hearthstone streamer. For a very long time, he was saying that he doesn't have any music in his streams or videos at all because he used to put the YouTube copyright-free audio library. He used to use that to put music into his videos, and then he was like, years later, they lost the rights to that, and then they copyright striked all of his videos.
It's so dumb.
Tom Scott says dogs can't look up. That's not true, Dave. That's Dave says dogs can't look up. From Shaun of the Dead. His name is Dave, I think, as well. Dave says dogs can't look up.
Direct quote.
I reckon the gun above the Winchester is loaded. Dave reckons so. Dave says dogs can't look up. Anyway, shall we move on to the quick news? 40 minutes into the podcast. Yeah. Let's go!
Yeah.
There's some Sonic news. The producer of the Yakuza series, when asked what other Sega franchise he would like to work on, said he would like to make a Sonic game. I think that would be really cool to see the Yakuza team making a Sonic game. I think at this point, a Sonic team has no fucking idea. Big Al says dogs can't look up. Okay, I'm going to look into this later, Dave, because I think his name was Dave, but... Dogs. You look it up, Dave, and come back to us, and we'll have a live update on the podcast. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I think it'd be really cool to see a Yakuza Sonic game because Sonic Team has no fucking idea what they're doing. Because like they came out with Sonic Forces, and everyone's like, "What the fuck is Sonic Forces?" But then Sonic Mania was crazy popular, and they let a third party, I think his name's Taxman. He made like a bunch of ports of like old Sonic games, and they let him do a lot of the work of making Sonic Mania, and that was hugely successful. And I think maybe at this point, Sonic Team's pride's getting in the way, where they're not letting other people help make Sonic games, even though they have access to all these resources. Pride? Yeah, well. Anyway. Deathloop reveal date revealed. Deathloop will launch May 21st, 2021. No, it won't. I feel like every time.
Oh, it won't.
Well, I feel like every time I announce a release date for an anticipated game, it's going to be delayed one way or another. It's called the Cyberpunk effect. And I'll see you guys in December when I talk about how Cyberpunk has been delayed again. Duck Game has been updated, Tony. I don't know if you I've played Duck Game. Have you ever played Duck Game or seen it? I think Donkey's made some videos about it in the past.
I haven't seen anything about it.
Okay. Basically, it's one of those games. It's kind of similar to Stick Fight the game. That basically it's one of those games where it's like an arcade party game where you just run around, pick up guns, and try and shoot each other. And one of the really cool things was I think you could play 4-player, but now you can now play up to 8 players, which is even awesome because I know quite a few friends of mine have Duck Game because it came in a big, like I think it was like a humble party game bundle. I would love to get a bunch of people and just play Duck Game because it's a really fun game just to play with friends. But you can now play up to 8 people. There's new maps, there's new guns, lots of bug fixes, more hats. Hats was a big thing in Duck Game. Dave says he's posted it in Discord, but I think if you posted a video, I can't show. Big Al says, "Okay, yeah, you got me. You got me then. If this GIF is correct." Big Al says that dogs can't look up. Fair enough. Oh, Dave sent me an image of the lady mask as well. Let's have a look at that. There it is. He's streaming. He was streaming this. That's the Netflix bar right there, I think. Yeah, he was streaming this on Netflix, and he saw that definitely that he did wear the mask at some point, so that is good to see. But yeah, Duck Game's cool. I'd like to see more people play it. Totally Accurate Battle Simulator now has a unit creator beta available on Steam. Do you remember about Tabs?
Yeah.
It's the Landfall guys who create really cool, fun physics stuff.
Yeah, I still watch people who play this game.
Right,
so
but now
I'm actually following it quite a lot.
There's now
this is amazing.
There's a beta available on the Steam version with a the version when it's fully released will be coming to all the games. So like me, who got it for free on Epic. When this comes out, I'll be able to use the unit creator on the Epic version. Did you pick this up for free on Epic, Tony, at all?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, so basically, during the beta, you won't be able to share your creations, but when this eventually goes live, you'll be able to create your own custom units and use them to fight each other. It does look pretty cool.
What is this video? Is this like text to speech? What's going on?
I don't know. Just kind of showing you how the unit creator works, how you can have custom weapons, choose their like stats and stuff. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Anyway, because it's one of those games where you just want to play around with it for like a while, just like a sandbox kind of game, and then
sometimes you're like, oh, I kind of wish Zeus also had his spear. I wonder how that would work.
Yeah,
I kind of want to have see people can do that sort of thing with us. That'd be really cool.
You can now make your own units, so you can just go crazy. That sort of thing. Like, yeah, I love like.
I guess the cost. The more you add, the more the cost is. I guess.
True. But the really cool thing that I love about Landfall is that they always see the value in allowing people to create custom content. Because one of the things that made Cluster Truck amazing was the workshop support. Anyone can it was like this game you play, and basically if you've never heard of Cluster Truck, I talk about it before. I love the game. It's a platformer where the platforms are moving trucks, and that was really cool. And you play through the entire thing, and then it's like, oh cool, and then it's like, wait, there's workshop support, so now I can do the exact same thing with user created maps. So. Yeah,
there's also different powers as well that they could use user created maps to like integrate themselves things, which I thought was pretty cool.
Tony, talking about DMCA issues, did you hear what happened in Roblox? The oof sound that famously accompanied the death of characters was temporarily removed following a copyright dispute. Did you hear about this issue? It seems like even Roblox isn't safe. The oof sound was hit by a claim, but it did come back, thank God. We were able to oof again. But when it was reinstated, gamers had to purchase it, paying around $1 or 76 pence, or 100 in-game currency.
Am I allowed to still use the oof sound as like in a meme, or is that not allowed either? No?
Well, I don't know. These days, Tony, I have no idea what to tell you. It's really rough out there.
Legal shit.
Yeah. But yeah,
they ruin everything.
I think I was talking to my friend the other day, and he was saying one of the kids he tutored wanted Roblox coins, and I was like, "It's Robux, mate. Even I know it's Robux."
Roblox coin.
It's a funny pun that it's called Roblox, but it's called Robux, like dollars or whatever. But even huger news about Roblox, Tony. The gaming company Roblox has filed an IPO prospectus after a 91% jump in revenue. So it may now be the time to invest in Robux. Roblox is going public on stocks. Invest in Roblox, guys. Finally, it's the time.
Such a huge revenue spike. What?
Roblox makes crazy money, dude. Have you seen how many kids play Roblox?
Yeah. But why suddenly? Like, why suddenly? Oh, we're now suddenly making a huge amount more money. Like, we're almost doubling our revenue. That's crazy.
I don't know, because we talked about previously, like Unity just went public as well, sort of thing. That was quite a big thing, especially with like the Apple stuff.
Good timing, I would say, actually, by accident.
Well, they're making a lot, because it said their revenue in the third quarter jumped from a year ago to 242.2 million, and its net loss then doubled to 48 million. So maybe just a good time. And they were like, well, finally, let's get a bunch of. Well, I'm not going to call Roblox a Ponzi scheme, but
I think I might.
Well, you have to be really careful with stuff like that, because then you are liable for the things you are saying.
No, it's my opinion.
If me and Tony were joking about Roblox going public in order to get investors to come in so they can use that money and run away with it, then I don't know. No, I'm just joking around. Anyway, Half-Life 2 Episode 2. Just joking, by the way. Half-Life 2 Episode 2 adds a new achievement, Gnome Alone, celebrating Gabe Newell launching Gnome Chomsky into space. Did you see the launch at all?
Thank God. I've seen all of this. Thank fucking God that we get more achievements for an old game. Thank goodness for this. This is what you'll need it, Joe.
I always have every single Valve game installed, because I always want to play them at some point. And I had like a 200 kilobyte Half-Life 2 Episode 2 update and Left 4 Dead 2 update. I was like, what the fuck is this 200 kilobyte Half-Life 2 update? They were adding the Gnome Alone achievement to Half-Life 2 and Left 4 Dead 2, as also the Gnome is referenced in Left 4 Dead 2. I think it's there's like a fairground ride in Dark Carnival where if you shoot all the targets in time, you get the Gnome Chomsky, and you get an achievement for carrying the gnome throughout the entire level. Because Valve just fucking loves gnomes at this point. Oh, hello there, my old chum.
He's better than gnome.
Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of weird because it's an achievement that automatically unlocks as soon as he's gone to space. I wonder if I have Gnome Alone. I'm going to check, because I checked the other day after the gnome went into space, and I was like, oh, I don't have the Gnome Chomsky achievement yet, even though I should technically. I wonder if you have to launch the game to get the achievement, sort of thing. Let me check quickly, and I'll update you.
Maybe, yeah.
Apparently he's going to be burnt. Yeah, so he's like inside the jet engine, so he's going to be burnt up completely by the flames, sort of thing.
Yeah, the atmosphere, yeah.
They sent him to space to kill him. Well, I definitely sent my gnome to space to kill him after I have to carry that fucker throughout the entirety of Half-Life 2 Episode 2. I'm telling you I sent that fucker to die in space.
He deserves it. Let's be fair. He deserves to burn up in it.
Yeah, I don't have the Gnome Alone achievement.
Not breathe.
I don't have the Gnome Alone achievement on Half-Life 2, so I guess I would have to launch the game, maybe, to get the achievement.
What
it's supposed to auto unlock.
Just like, right.
Anyway, well, I'll update you on that if I launch Half-Life 2 Episode 2 within the next 2 weeks. Assassin's Creed Valhalla has beat Call of Duty in the race to #1 in the UK. I put this on here because it was kind of interesting. From Reddit user Coldblow Code, he said, Black Ops Cold War has 8 maps on launch, less guns on launch than any previous game, has health bars are back from Black Ops 4, and the time to kill has slowed down compared to Modern Warfare 2019. The part I found really interesting is the engine is a modified version of the Black Ops 4 engine, thus animations and graphics aren't on par with the Modern Warfare 2019, leading to some say it looks like a mobile game. Because people were saying, you know, with the Call of Duty mobile game, people were saying like, the new Black Ops game looks like Call of Duty Mobile on PC. So I thought it was pretty interesting that Activision Blizzard wants to release Modern Warfare as their live service, but then they were like, but we also want to release a new game every year to keep people buying physical copies. Why don't we do both? And now we have the really confusing mess that is Modern Warfare Warzone is their live service, but they're also releasing new games every year, but these new games every year, they don't have the development time from Modern Warfare, so these games are made from old engines, like the original Black Ops 4 engine, to make the new game, leading to some of the animations to look worse than the live service that came out a year ago.
Ubisoft kind of does this as well, like the new not Division, like the not Rainbow. What is it? There's another franchise they fucking have, and like, oh yeah, they ruined that one as well. Like for a similar problem, they don't have enough development time. You make a shit game. It's strange though.
Well, you're talking about Ubisoft, because I think the one at the moment people are complaining about was Splinter Cell. They haven't made a Splinter Cell game in years, but they were making like a VR game, and they added him to Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah.
Anyway,
next up, Tom Clancy or something. Like another franchise.
The Division is Tom Clancy's The Division sort of thing.
Okay, I think it's a different Tom Clancy thing I'm thinking of there.
Anyway, Apple has announced an App Store small business program. So you remember that 30% cut that went down to 15% if you were a certain company? Well, small companies such as Amazon are now allowed to have their 15% cut if they make less than $1 million per year in 2021.
Yeah, they're not epic. I feel like quite funny. I'm
going to find the stat, because I think they said that I believe they said that the lowest, that the devs that make more than 1 million per year actually account for like over 90% of all apps in the App Store.
Yeah,
so
I saw
there's
that.
like a small portion of apps that actually do the 30%, but they make so much money that Apple doesn't need to touch the small businesses, and they've never had to. But they're only doing it now to save face. Dave says Ghost Recon, because there was the Ghost Recon Wildlands game. Yep. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, I think it was Ghost Recon. Yeah, what a pile of shit.
See if I can find the stats for you, because it might be interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was something along the lines of like 92% or less than $1 million, but like 85% of the revenue comes from the top 5% or something.
The company said the vast majority of iOS episodes should be able to access the program, but Apple declined to say what percentage of its more than 28 million registered apps would qualify, and they declined to specify how much of its App Store revenue would be affected by reduced commission.
It's over 85%.
It is estimated 98% of developers would be eligible. So that's an estimation, because Apple won't give out that information. But it seems like only 2% of the actual App Store actually need this massive fucking cut that Apple's been giving, small developers for years.
Yeah. But why are they also pushing microtransactions and all the apps are not making any money for Apple? Like, I don't understand, like, this weird, we need you to do this, but like, yeah, but you don't.
Because Apple wants a cut of the pie. They want to make money, even if the developer doesn't want to charge money.
Yeah.
Anyway. I just wrote down Marcus Brownlee for this. We also got the brand new MacBook Pro with the brand new ARM-based M1 chip, and they said some pretty crazy things like it's 2.8% faster, 5% faster GPU, and it's like it's way faster than a bunch of Windows-based laptops, and it was like they were making some pretty like generic bold claims sort of thing, and then people were like, I don't know about what do you think of the new M1 MacBook Pro? Because from what I understand, there's 3 versions of it, and basically they all use the same processor, but the only difference.
Well, there's 3. Yeah, there's 3 products use the same chip.
But the difference is
so there's the Mac Pro, Mac Air, Mac Pro Air or something, and then the Mac Mini.
Yeah, so the Mini is like meant to be used for like a home entertainment system, maybe, or something like that.
Yeah, that's the best cooling. Yeah.
And then one of them has like the Touch Bar, which is why it's more expensive, even though they're pretty much the same hardware for the most part.
Yeah. So from what I can tell, people prefer the Air over the Pro because the Touch Bar is so shit on the Pro. So,
right.
I agree. I think the Air is like don't bother with any of the Pro stuff in Apple. The Air, if a product line you like from Apple has an Air version, I would look into that if you don't need the Pro stuff. So, and the Air is always better than like the base line as well. Like I would recommend that. Yeah, I was gonna say though, it's like it's impressive like the performance they get from it, but their actual conference was like a load of shit. Like it's like a load of nonsense numbers that mean absolutely nothing. Like it wasn't worth watching at all. Like it was utter nonsense.
Yeah, everything I've seen of this, like I think it's interesting that this is the first Apple's ARM chip, which is why I'm talking about it. But from everything I've seen, it seems like unless you're hard stuck in Apple hell, where you're like, oh, I do everything on Apple systems, and I have to get the new Apple device. It seems like there's no real reason to get this new laptop over like any other laptop, maybe like a Ryzen 4000 series would be much better than this.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But like, if you really like Apple products, you like the UI of like the actual desktop experience, then I think like people kind of stuck in Apple at that point, and I think it is pretty good for that still. And I'm actually kind of impressed with how many apps or how many programs and apps are working off the bat. Like not everything, obviously. There's like a lot of teething issues, but like it's still way better than. I think someone was comparing it to like Chromebook. It's like, yeah, Chromebook is a piece of shit. Like you can only have from what I remember from Chromebook, I don't think even all Android apps work on Chromebook. It's like it's really weird. But I think all Apple or iOS apps work on the new MacBooks. So
I got to start speeding this up so we can get to the good news, because I've been stalling super hard. Cyberpunk has confirmed that ray tracing on AMD GPUs will not be available at launch. This seems to be most likely due to the fact that Nvidia will most likely use DLSS to get good ray tracing performance.
I see. Yeah.
So they don't want people to play the game on AMD GPUs, turn ray tracing on and go, this game sucks, my performance is terrible.
Yeah.
Because, as I said before, DLSS is very big in terms of performance sort of thing, yeah.
It's huge.
Did I talk about the... I talked about the new GPUs last podcast, right?
Yeah,
I've looked into them a bit more, and I think it's still worth going Nvidia from what I can see. Unless you're one of the weird edge cases where A, you're playing at 1080p, B, you don't give a shit about ray tracing. Those are the two things where I'm like, oh, you might as well go cheaper on the AMD.
Yeah. I will say this though, like I think I'm still like formally in like the Nvidia camp, like their software side of after the GPUs is still really good, but it is really good that AMD has caught up, if not surpassed in some areas. I think Nvidia still beats it more than not, but it's really good that AMD is caught up because it means there's actually competition in the space. Like that's actually really good.
And as
it means it can't bullshit later on.
This is AMD's first generation Ray cores. I think they're called Ray because they have each compute unit is I think they're called Ray accelerators. So the base it goes from 60 to 72 to 80, and each compute unit is a Ray core. But they don't use. And they're not using the artificial intelligence tensor cores that Nvidia are using. So
no, I think they're going to regret that. Like I think I think AI stuff is going to be really big in the future. I think they might regret that. AI is not going away. So
yeah. GeForce Now will connect with GOG Galaxy and will support Cyberpunk 2077 and Witcher 3. This is great news for anyone who buys physical PC copies of Cyberpunk as well, because that will have a GOG code as well, so you can have your physical disc, you can have it on GOG, and you can stream it through GeForce Now as well. So that's pretty cool to see.
That's crazy.
As we talked about earlier, Cyberpunk 2077 will feature a disable copyright music mode for content creators, so any licensed music that's in the soundtrack will then be instead replaced with their own proprietary in-game soundtrack that's DMCA free sort of thing. So that's pretty cool to see, because that's quite a quick response to people going, everyone's getting massively DMCA'd on Twitch, and now they're going, well, if you play our game, you'll be able to do Let's Plays and streams of it.
That's a really cool show of face, I think. Like, yeah, look, you're getting fucked up by games audio. Here we go. Here's a saying to help you. Thanks.
Steam, I don't know if you've been checking on the beta updates for Steam, but Steam's been adding a ton of controller support for the PS5. It's available via the Steam Input API. They've been adding support for the controller itself. They've been adding and refining compatibility for the trackpad, the rumble, the gyro. So I think you can do gesture.
What are the triggers? What about the triggers though? The haptic triggers or the feedback triggers.
So Absent is the DualSense adaptive triggers.
Oh, okay, right.
But it seems like they've done quite, because they've got the gyro and the trackpad. So it seems like you could potentially map the gesture controls with the PS5 controller and use that within Steam, which is really cool to see.
That'd be impressive.
I did watch I was watching some critical videos, and he was talking about how he thought it was going to be gimmicky, a lot of the PS5 stuff. He was saying, like, when he was playing Dark Souls and you could feel like when an arrow went past you with the haptic feedback on the controller, he said that was really cool. You could, and it had like the whizzing sound coming out of it as well. He said he thought it was going to be like a big gimmick, but he was like, the PS5 controller is actually really cool. And it seems like from Xbox camp, they seem to be re-releasing the same controller over and over again, pretty much. I still have a Xbox 360 controller for PC, and I have out of everything that Microsoft's come out with to upgrade the Xbox controller, I don't see any point to upgrade at this point.
Can we just merge Microsoft and Sony's like principles together? Like, why can't we have like the PS5 idea of like a new controller is actually like a really good step up, but also allow backwards compatibility of controllers? Like, wouldn't that be a great feature?
Yeah, I mean, I've not always been a big fan of like some of the stuff Sony's done with their controllers. Like, I hated it in like the Ratchet and Clank games where you had the 6-axis controller and you had to like turn the controller around to move. It was like, when it comes to these sort of
like,
features, it more depends on the developers' support of these features. So whether
six axis was always shit. I hate the 6-axis. So I problem I have is like Sony's like, oh, Insomniac, you're a first-party developer. We have this new thing. You have to add this to your game. Like, sure. Why is it on by default? It's shit.
Yeah, I think what was it called? Do you know the name of the PS4 drivers for PC software? Because I think they just recently added DS4 Windows. I think they just added support for the PS5 controller as well. Because the big thing about the Xbox controller is Microsoft makes Windows 10, so you can just plug an Xbox 360. You can just plug any Xbox controller into your PC, and then it just works by default. But for PS4 controllers, you do have to do some stuff to get it to work, and especially with the Bluetooth stuff, you have to do some fiddling.
Yeah, like you plug in like a new device and like Windows, like, oh, I need to scan for, like, the internet for the drivers, and I think because obviously it's Microsoft, they just added it to their list of the drivers are here, just take it from our database. Like, thank you.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see. Anyway, move on. Marvel Avengers player count has dropped 96% since launching 2 months ago on Steam. Starting to look like we've got an Anthem on our hands with this live service.
Yeah.
And in maybe unrelated news, Square Enix reports $48 million loss following release of underperforming Marvel Avengers. I'm sure the two are not connected. There's nothing about releasing a hollowed out live service experience that nobody wants to play after 2 months of it being out and you losing a bunch of money.
Well, didn't they people start playing it after basically a week? Really, I know the big drop off was after, yeah. But I feel like people started looking at it and going, "Oh, this is really shit."
I think Dave was talking about the controller. He said third-party ones not so much. I've had to do a few manually. You've had to set a few up manually. Okay.
Oh right, I see. Yeah.
Right. PS5. So you remember we were talking about the PS5 doesn't support 1440p out the box due to TV priority. They have said if there is enough requests, it will be added, and this was Sony's Hideki Noshino, and he even hinted at maybe potentially a PS VR 2. So I'll be interesting to see that because I'm always interested in new VR technology. Speaking of VR,
and PSVR was always really good.
The Oculus Quest 2 finally got the 90 Hz refresh rate update come through. So the Oculus Link app natively supports 90 Hz refresh rates and higher resolutions when you plug it into your PC. It is no longer 72 Hz like the original Oculus Quest. That is cool to see. Apps on the store will be a case-by-case basis, usually. So if you're playing it on the headset itself, non-plugged into your PC, whether the designer of the game sets up a 90 Hz mode or is up to them sort of thing. But plugging it into the PC, you should always be able to now get the 90 Hz refresh rate through the Oculus Link cable. Because I know some developers, when you were updating the apps on the headset, they even had a graphics update moving the app from the Quest 1 to the Quest 2 because there was so much more computing powers in the new, I think it's the Snapdragon AR VR chip that's in the Quest 2 sort of thing.
The XR or something is an awesome.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool to see. Driver 2 has an unofficial PC port, which is pretty cool to see. A group of fans have finally moved the Driver 2 over as an open source PC port of the 2000 PlayStation game Driver 2, and it runs at 60 frames per second. So if you're a fan of the Driver series, I was a big fan of Driver San Francisco. That game's fucking amazing. I think I talked about it in my games of the decade sort of thing. So maybe I'll go back and play this at some point sort of thing. It's kind of
to do the tutorial there, Joe.
I've played the Easter egg of the tutorial in Driver San Francisco, and I still can't believe that exists. So basically, it's similar to the PC port of Mario 64, where technically you'll have to compile the data so they can get around DMCA sort of thing.
Yeah.
And you'll have to have a Driver 2 folder from the CD-ROM that you definitely own. So you'll kind of... If you see what I'm saying, you'll have to get your Driver CD out, get that information, then compile it with this data on GitHub, and then you can get the native PC port to work. So that's pretty cool.
If you don't have it, just give them a donation through PayPal, and that's equally as legal. Definitely 100%.
Okay, PUBG is announcing its return to India. New game, $100 million investment with their new game, brand new game, Tony. PUBG Mobile India. I don't know if you knew this, but we kept talking about how basically every single area in India was starting to ban PUBG because they've got some weird laws where they're like, we don't like how this is affecting the children or the public, and it doesn't represent our core values. Yeah, and basically, I think it got to a point where PUBG was pretty much banned in India, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it seems like, because obviously the Asian market is fucking huge, and PUBG is massively popular in China, for example, but also it's massively popular in India as well, which now has incredibly cheap mobiles and incredibly cheap internet access through their. I think they now have like really good 4G infrastructure in the country, and it's finally now there's these billion people that are now able to play games on their phone, or like, well, I'll check out that big PUBG game, and it's a massive market for blue balls entertainment, as Dr. Disrespect used to say.
Blue balls?
Well, they're called Bluehole, is the name of the developer. So we'll have to see if PUBG can retake India or whether it'll just get randomly banned again. We'll have to see if their plan works out on PUBG Mobile India. Spain is reconsidering video game loot boxes as gambling and wants to regulate them as casinos. This is pretty interesting. Recently we had I think the UK recently was calling in information on loot boxes and gambling, that sort of thing as well. They wanted more evidence of loot boxing being gambling sort of thing, so they could maybe have some stronger legislation on loot boxes inside the UK. Spain's
all the
going a
official
similar
reports
route.
in the UK do actually show that is like signs of it, but I think I think they want more. I guess more hard evidence. I guess you could say.
Anyway, speaking of loot boxes, EA is launching the FIFA spend tracking tool. So they're going to allow a brand new tool that gives FIFA 21 players information on how much time and money they have spent on the game, as well as the ability to limit some aspects of play.
I don't think this is like the full thing we wanted, but I actually think this is a really good tool, and I actually think this should be in every game with microtransactions.
I wrote down it's a step in the right direction, but they've got a long way to go. I think that's kind of the idea behind this. Is that?
But I just think more tools to help you know what you're spending. Like, humans are really bad, like tracking lots of small things you pay for, which is why like you get so much money from loot boxes.
Yeah,
overall for EA, like judging EA from this, like sure, like it's a long way to go before they're actually like in like the good books, but I still think this tool is really good.
I think one day me and Andy went through our like Blizzard Activision purchase history to see how much money we'd spent on Hearthstone cards, and basically that was the moment I realized how predatory like card packs and loot boxes really are.
Yep, it doesn't tell you.
Hang on, I've just got a message from my lawyer Dave. As your lawyer, I advise you to refer them as surprise mechanics. The term loot boxes now carries negative connotations. Sorry. They're going to limit how many surprise mechanics.
Loot boxes.
How many surprise mechanics you can open in FIFA? Yeah.
I don't agree. There's any negative connotations at all. I think it's an entirely accurate connotation. Loot boxes.
So I said this is a step in the right direction, but with more and more countries looking into loot boxes / gambling, I think this is more covering their asses than it is as a genuine goodwill gesture. That's my take.
I think from EA's, like if you're judging EA from this, and they're just covering their asses, but I still think like even if we ban like loot, or we manage loot boxes, I still think every game with microtransactions should have some sort of in-game tracking tool, like easy to get to and easy to see. Like I think that's actually a really good idea. But again, for EA's point of view, just covering their asses.
EA has come out with a new Battlefield 5 community update. It's called Play by Your Own Rules. So Battlefield 5's community games update. So you can now set your own custom in-game rules for community servers, including bullet damage, ticket count, respawn time, respawn time, round time. One of the huge complaints about Battlefield 5 is people keep saying that the devs of Battlefield 5, they keep messing around with time to kill. When new players, when they release a big content update and they want new players to come into the game, they keep making time to kill really long so new players don't get immediately killed by the pros, and they will stick around longer and they can spend more money on the microtransaction shop. And so this seems like but then people, I personally think time to kill should be a bit lower, because I think it makes the game a bit more fluid and it makes the gun more fun overall. But there's always going to be a fine balance between There's always like the balance between Halo, where I'm shooting, or like, you know, a bullet spongy game like Destiny or something, where you're just shooting a guy and he's like, oh, I got shields. Okay, he's dead. Like, and then there's the other end of the spectrum where it's like Rising Storm, where you spawn into the map and you get shot in the head across the map by someone who's been sitting in a bush for 50 minutes. That's the you kind of want to find a balance in. Some people like the ends of the spectrum, because I know lots of people do enjoy that stuff, but that's going to be in the hands of the people who want to play the game now. So that's going to be really cool to see.
I would say on the end of the spectrum of bullet sponges, I think if you're going to have like a bullet, like my thinking is like, say like you're in a mech, I would expect that to be a bullet sponge, but I think it should be interesting as you take damage, like your arms or things that get shut down as you take more damage. Like I think there's something to be said for that.
Well, I think this is really cool. I'm really interested to check this out. So yeah. I have to load up Battlefield 5 again, get my ray tracing going. I still think Battlefield 5 is one of the best ray tracing examples out there.
Oh yeah.
Such a beautiful game. Anyway, should we talk about Nvidia?
Yeah, let's do it.
So recently we were talking about how AMD was saying their Smart Access Memory, or SAM, was technology where you could use, basically they were saying you could, instead of going in 256 megabyte caches, you could use the entire bar sort of thing to go straight from the graphics card to the CPU.
Basically using it as its own RAM.
But
sort of
Nvidia has come out recently and saying, well, this feature, we've been developing a feature similar to this, and it's coming to Ampere. So Nvidia already has the feature working on its Ampere graphics cards in its labs. It will enable it on Ampere GPUs through future software updates. Additionally, Nvidia claims its feature will work equally well with Intel and AMD processors, so it is technology agnostic, whereas AMD's SAM, you have to be running a 500 series motherboard, you have to be running a Ryzen 5000 CPU, and you have to be running a Radeon 6000 GPU.
Which is really stupid.
Whereas Nvidia is saying, hey, we don't really give a shit what technology you're using, we just want to enable this stuff so you can get more frames in your games, which, I mean, ultimately is always the goal sort of thing.
I hope AMD is not like, oh, we're gonna actively hamstring people that have a 5000 series CPU and an Nvidia and go, haha, see, it's not as good as our graphics cards. Like if they do that, then
that sounds incredibly illegal, Tony.
It does sound incredibly illegal. I hope they don't accidentally do that.
So
by like
Nvidia also suggests that AMG's feature, which it hasn't been fully detailed yet, so they could have more stuff to it, which we don't know about with SAM. But they're saying basically it just consists of adjusting the PCIe's resizable bar feature, which can be done on almost any modern motherboard if the manufacturer supports the option. You don't even need PCI Gen 4, you can do this on PCI Gen 3.
Apparently, I remember where I saw, I can't remember if it was like the bunch or like something else they linked to, but like someone's saying like Microsoft is like really pushing for this. Like they really want it, like for Windows.
Microsoft's been wanting to do this for a while. Nvidia's been wanting to. It's just about the resizable bar. It's not like a proprietary technology exclusive to AMD. It's just AMD's been able to AMD's been able to name it and market it better than the other companies, I would say, and just come out ahead before anybody else, thought to do. I think Nvidia, even if they were working on this, I do potentially think they kind of pulled the thumb out of their ass just because of AMD. So at least this is a good thing that AMD's put the fire underneath them and gone, oh shit, we can do this too. Why don't we do this as well?
Yeah, I think the marketing stuff is a bit nonsense from AMD's side, but I still think they did it first, and that still counts for something.
Yeah, I think SAM technology is, because we have seen some benchmarks of the Radeon cards, and they do have a noticeable performance bump with Smart Access Memory enabled with the full AMD setup. So having access to SAM with Intel CPUs and Nvidia cards and stuff and AMD CPUs as well, that will be really cool to see. It's basically because it's a software thing, so you won't even have to buy a new card to get access to this performance increase. They can just release it in a driver, or work with Microsoft to help release this through Windows as well, sort of thing. So
I see there's some architectural hurdles, but I assume it's not that massive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the final piece of news, and we'll end the podcast. There's rumor, speculation. Nvidia leaks suggest there will be a RTX 3060 Ti, which beats the RTX 2080 Super, so it should be at least equal to, and then sometimes even have a 1 to 10% performance increase with a bigger gap on ray tracing titles. So when it seems like the newer ray tracing technology of the 3000 series is giving this new 3060 technology the bump over the older 2080 Super card. And it seems like from everything we've seen, we could see this launch in maybe January, or even based on like things. So the Radeon 6900, is it an X? I think that, are they all X's? Radeon 6000.
No, they're not all X's.
XT, that's the big one they haven't released yet. That's coming out in December. So that would be sort of time, I think, within the next couple of months, people are going to be looking at cards. Depending on the benchmarks between the 3090 and the 3090 and the Radeon 6900 XT, that would be the time when Nvidia might want to come out with a 3090 Ti or a 3090 Super or a 3080 Super, because I think, or a card in between, because there's definitely space in between the Radeon 6800 and the RTX 2070, because the sort of thing, or is it the because the Radeon 6800 I think kind of beats the 3700 sort of thing, but it's not. Yeah, but it's more expensive, so it kind of lives in this weird in between.
There's a really weird price gap. So it goes like 3070, 6800 from AMD, then like a gap, then 6800 XT, then the 3080. But those last two you can kind of swap around, depending on what they're doing.
There's a big gap for a budget card right now, is what I'm saying as well. Because right now it's like, well, I don't want to spend £500 on a 3070. Why?
No.
So my choices for a budget card right now is a 2060 Super, pretty much. That's the best budget card you can get right now, sort of thing. If you care about ray tracing, because you could always go even further back and get the 1660 Ti or the 1650, because those are fine for your general people who just want the 1080p gaming sort of thing. But if this thing comes out for around £400 sort of thing, I can definitely see it slotting into that budget hole that's been filled, that we haven't had for this generation yet. So be interested to see when Nvidia comes out with this and if the benchmarks hold up. What you say?
I would say this is like the start of competition where cards will get cheaper, because there's a slot here, we can put a new graphics card in, and they're like, there's a new graphic thing we can put underneath that. This is how prices get lower. Yeah,
I think Nvidia made a lot of the Super and Ti cards because of AMD last generation, and AMD weren't even close back then, and now they're right up their asses, sort of thing.
Now they are. Yeah.
And this is really competition is always a good thing, and it's always better for the consumer. So even if you're a Nvidia fanboy right now and you're saying, I don't give a shit about the AMD cards, it's still a good thing for you. You're still getting smart access memory updates through Nvidia drivers or Windows updates. You're still going to get cheaper graphics cards that are more powerful, because they have to compete with the good cards that are coming out for AMD. It's great for everyone, the whole ecosystem. So that'll be good to see.
You never want one to be better than the other. If you're an AMD fanboy, you do not want AMD to be on top, in the same way you don't want Nvidia on top. So don't try and don't look at it like that either. Yeah, competition is good, not one or the other.
Tony, everyone's talking about how awesome it is on the PS5. Now you've got the solid state drive, And when you're trying to go back and do objectives, you can just immediately jump from level to level in different places around. But I think we've forgotten about something. How good hard drives were. And we got a tweet from Peter Molyneux now. My first next generation game will have long loading times because just how revolutionary it is. Remember, if a next gen game is loading quickly, it's simply not pushing the envelope of modern technology. The loading screen is the game. That's a good point. I think I replied to this and I said, I think hard drives are an experience. Having to sit in a loading screen, that's an experience we won't be able to get because of those bastards putting SSDs in the new consoles, Tony. I can't believe them. Also, okay. Yep.
He's written a response to his own tweet with like a long chain. What would you prefer? Wait 5 minutes for fast food cheeseburger with ketchup, or wait an hour for a goose burger cooked perfectly with caramelized popcorn and shiitake mushrooms? I know which one I would prefer.
Exactly. Checkmate. Checkmate.
Yeah.
Oh, also, I saw this news that apparently Deadpool 3 was going to get the Molyneux sisters to write the sequel, and I was like, wait, Peter Molyneux has sisters? What's going on here? Anyway, that's the end of the podcast. You can check us out and everything in between podcast on YouTube, twitch.tv/Sqaire if you want to watch live, and at Sqaire2000 on Twitter. If I remember to post when we're going live, I've just realised I haven't today, but I will post VODs. And,
again.
Yeah. And we will see you next time. All right. Bye, Dave. All right. See you. Bye.
Bye.